My name is Moise Brutus. I'm a student, I'm an athlete. Also, I'm working on helping people. Currently I'm training for the 2016 Paralympic cycling team. And my training consists of, I train about 5 times a week. And 5 times a week I'm at the gym for about an hour and a half. Also, I ride about 100 miles a week when you break it down. And that's on my own. And then 3 times of the week I go to the velodrome and I work with my coach. My role models right now, I would have to say my mom and my dad. My dad, because my dad, he just has that desire to help people. He's really humble. And I think that's mostly because in his lifetime, a lot of people, like he has had a lot of help to get to where he is right now. So he tries to give back. And whenever I, take some time and I just think about, how do I want to be remembered? I always think about my dad and how I want to be remembered as someone who was always there to give a helping hand. Started off, like normal tragic days start. The skies were clear, the skies were blue. So pretty much I get a phone call from one of my friends, and he, persuaded me to go out for a ride. So I go on and I put on all my gear, and I tell my mom I'm heading out to go for a ride. So I go out and I go out, I get on my bicycle. It's a bicycle.
Keep on moving.
So I go out and I grab my motorcycle and I head out. We went to Las Olas and there was nothing going on. So someone decided that maybe we should go to another spot. On the way back, at the last minute, I remember I had some chemistry homework that I had to get to. So I took this exit to go home. There were other people who took that exit too, but they were way ahead of me, and I took the exit at the last possible second. And the only thing I remember from there was just looking down to turn on my high beam, and that's pretty much all I remember. And seeing like a white wall, and that's all I remember. This was around 1 a.m. and out of the blue, I just remember waking up like I was in a dream-like state. I remember waking up, and it was like around 3 when I woke up, so I was out for like an hour and a half. I woke up, I started looking around, trying to assess the situation, and then I look down and I see my hand is missing. Not to be too graphic, but it sort of looked like 2 harpoons that you go, when you go spearfishing, it looked like 2 harpoons sticking out. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, my life is over. And the second thing I said was, my mom was going to kill me. After further investigating, I realized that my left leg was completely severed and it was off. And my right leg was all mangled. It looked like a pretzel. After that situation, after seeing that, I started thinking, how am I going to get out of this situation? I landed exactly on the irrigation system that takes the water down. And I still remember seeing that pool of blood all the way down there on that slope. It was just like a pool of blood. And I realized I'm not going to be able to crawl back up to the street because I was in the ditch. And then I get this light bulb that just went off. Something tells me, look for your phone. So I started looking around for my phone. I couldn't find it. And then I get another light bulb that says, look in your right pocket. My phone was there, so I looked, I reached down, I got my phone. But I remember before I left Las Olas, I sent a text message, and my phone was on 5% battery life. I found the phone, but I also thought, this phone is dead. Not only that it couldn't have survived the trauma of me, the force that had to be exerted for me to lose 3 limbs. The phone, no way could have survived that. But the phone worked. I was on 3% battery left. I was able to call 911, and I called for help. About 15 minutes later, I heard sirens, but they couldn't find me, so I had to get to a sitting position and tell them, you know, I could see the lights from my left side, so if you guys come on your right, you guys will find me. And a minute from telling them that, a minute from that, the first officer on scene found me. And I was awake. I was awake until I got to the hospital where, you know, they put me out and I was in surgery, and I woke up 3 days later. That's pretty much the whole story. I mean, but that whole part wasn't even the hardest part. I think the hardest part for me was when I got home and actually, you know, realizing that I was sort of not the same person anymore. I mean, that's sort of kind of how I felt. You know, I felt like I was helpless. And, you know, and that's another thing I've realized, that people usually get to their lowest points when they get to the point where they feel like they can't really help themselves. And I was there. You know, I think the only thing that really kept me alive was the fact that I'm my mother's only child. And without me, you know, like she wouldn't really have anything. I mean, if it wasn't for her, I think I would have just gave up. No, I think the obstacles that I face has really played a role in defining what type of person I've become. Before this whole accident, I think I was pretty much like any other 20-something-year-old, you know. This accident has really showed me a lot of things and has put everything in perspective for me. Showed me what's really important versus what's not really important. How would I go about it? Still trying to figure that out. But what I would change, I think the most important thing that I would try to show the world is that we're all equal. You know, a lot of times, depending on what you have or, you know, your status, a lot of people they sort of get this idea that they're better than other people. And in reality, we're all the same.